Hi Scorpio, welcome to your May 2018 general tarot reading. It's Raina here. I do emphasize general because not only is this a general focus, but it's also supposed to be for every one of you on the planet. So that's a little much. And so just have fun with it, you know, see it as spiritual entertainment. And if you're interested in a private reading, visit me at my website, rainamoonastrology.com. The link is below, and the reason for that is that a lot of my readings involve your natal chart. So it's a little bit different, you know. Well, no, actually it's a lot different for a lot of those types of readings than what I do on YouTube. And I do these types, these are very easy to be symbolic with. And symbolism means that they can appeal to people in different ways. So there's more flexibility is basically what I'm saying. So anyway. I just got the same card for Pisces in the same exact position. So. Ooh, two cards came out. They kind of almost are stuck together. Both number 6, by the way, which is connected to the planet Venus. And we'll talk about that in a second. Okay, woo. Let me get everything together. So sometimes with readings, there is a certain theme that I notice, like, you know, like a relationship-oriented thing. I really think this particular reading has something to do with financial wherewithal. And I mean, you know, obviously Pentacles definitely relate to that, but there's more to it than meets the eye. Or whatever. I mean, it could have, you know, if you're involved with an earth sign, then and you're dealing with practical matters, then of course that would apply to you for that reason. But the overall theme for May for Scorpio is represented by the 4 of Pentacles. One thing I should mention is that there is going to be a new moon in Taurus, which is an earth sign, that's your opposite sign. And this is involving that 7th house for you, whenever there's something in Taurus. And so that automatically will be in opposition to your 1st house. Now, that the self versus the other. But with this card, we're talking about, you see how the person is holding on to their gold, you know, representing the money, with both hands and even feet, okay? So it definitely involves money management. For some people, you're like really doing well, where you're handling money like a pro. Actually, Scorpio rules the 8th house of other people's money. So Scorpio people, it's not unusual for a Scorpio person or somebody with a strong Scorpio, you know, whatever you want to call it, signature, to have the karma where other people's money comes into play, whether it's through inheritances, which is a big part of that 8th house, a divorce settlement that puts the Scorpio person in a different income bracket and kind of elevates them in society or what have you. And Scorpio, I would call a fiscally conservative sign, and the 4 of Pentacles is definitely thinking along those lines. It's definitely not the energy of somebody who's a spendthrift, although it can be somebody who's being excessive in their concern about money. So it could be that you're being stingy about something. It could be that you are worried about something, but it is associated with having financial security. So if you are worried about it, it's in your mind rather than actually happening. And okay, so let me talk about the reason for this. Okay, the Five of Pentacles. Well, let me go into this too, because this is what is challenging you, which is your card. The Death card is associated with Scorpio. So, I mean, yeah, it could be something to do with like a probate issue, the death of somebody that you are dealing with. Maybe you're fighting over money, and maybe other people want your money. Maybe you inherited some money from a spouse or from a family member, and other people feel like they are entitled to it, and you're not giving it up. At the basis, we're talking about the Five of Pentacles. This is the card of being down and out in some way or having poverty consciousness. So if there is a probate issue and maybe somebody did leave you money, but it's like, I'll give you an example of where you might want to alter your decision, where, let's say, you were raised by a narcissistic parent and that parent dies and you were the golden child. You were the one that the parent favored and she cut everybody else out of the will. I actually know, I think maybe even more than one example of this where it was very pronounced. And only one child got the money and the rest of the siblings didn't. And that child that got the money was actually very irresponsible. And we're not talking about actual children, we're talking about adults. So that stuff does happen, and if you were the one who was always favored, you might have a change of heart. You may say, you know what, I know that this is what my mother or father you know, dictated, but I want to be fair to the other siblings because they were always treated unfairly. And you may decide to loosen that grip on that money. But there are other scenarios that this could also play out. And so the death can be kind of like this wedge between you and other family members. There can also be a situation where you're in this, maybe you're getting divorced, and you're really fighting, you know, fighting for this money. Maybe you're trying to fight for the money, or maybe you're the one with the money and not wanting to give it to your ex, to your soon-to-be ex, because they cheated or something like that, or they left you, and you can't accept that the relationship is over with. So you're using money as a way to control the situation. But, you know, the Five of Pentacles can simply mean that somebody is fear-based about money, scarcity consciousness, where they are just simply afraid of not having enough, but that doesn't have any, is not reflected in their bank statement. And this could be anybody. This could be somebody who is very wealthy that has a lot of money in the bank. I think I mentioned this story before, but I used to work in a health food store, and there was this old man, and he'd always come in and he had like holes in his gloves. He was old. He was an old man though. So, you know, I didn't think anything of it. I just thought he was a really, you know, impoverished person. And I had a coworker who actually had a second job in a bank, and so she knew everybody's bank statements in town, you know. Well, you know, just the people that went to that bank. And she told me that he had $100,000 in the bank, but he dressed in rags and he had holes in his gloves. That's how some people are. It's madness, right? It is crazy. But they may not be literally insane, but maybe it's a past life thing. Maybe it's from childhood, the Great Depression. Maybe they lived through it and they say, I never want to experience that. So they would rather go without now just to avoid having to spend money. And that's why I say the law of attraction, I don't agree with it literally, because there are people that are fear-based and they still amass money. But imagine what they would do if they weren't fear-based. Maybe they would amass a lot more. But at least they respect money, and I think that that's why they attract it anyway. Okay, so let's look at the spiritual message. Rather than the material, the spiritual message. The Star card, a wonderful card. This is a card of hopefulness, a sense that you are being guided. Now, interestingly, this is associated with Aquarius. If we look at it astrologically, Aquarius is your 4th house of home and family. And so because of this, this is the house of the mother. So if there was a mother that passed, perhaps she's going to influence you to do the right thing. I'm not saying that she would be the narcissist. Maybe she just happened to put you in charge of the money because she thought you were the most responsible or most savvy with money. And so you're like the executor of the will or something like that. And things have just gone off the rails for some reason. She may be guiding you to do the right thing. But other possibilities here that don't involve probate issues or other people's money. This could simply be a situation where you are trying to get out of a relationship and you're afraid that you or the other person's trying to get out of the relationship and you're afraid of not being able to support yourself. And the Star card is saying that the universe has your back. I think that's fair to say. I don't know if I see anything job related here, but the point is, Scorpio, that you have the money. The 4 of Pentacles, whether the person's being stingy or not, they still have the money. And then we have here 2 cards that were stuck together. Both, the number 6 relates to Venus, and Venus rules the house of marriage, but also the house of earned income. With the 6 of Cups, we have a card of childhood, the past. Again, this could relate to your family of origin. This is in the upright position. It's very sentimental. So it could be that you will open your heart to people, to your family members, if you had any hard feelings, and maybe remember the days when everything was a lot simpler, when there weren't these adult problems that kind of come in between you and other people, and maybe that will kind of soften things up. See, we have, what do we have here? 6 of Pentacles. See the guy, he's got the scales. See how he is dressed. He is not in the same social class as the people. Obviously, they are beggars, and this man has the wherewithal to wear a robe. So he is, or whatever you call that thing. He is in an elevated financial position. That is why he is able to give them some of these coins. And the scales represent fairness and justice. So it could be that in a certain... I didn't mention this. With the 6 of Cups, we could be talking about child custody issues too, or child support. Okay, so that might be the thing too, is that the marriage is over, but you still have to support your child. That suggests with the 6 of Pentacles that the judgment will be a fair one. It's in the upright position. And because you are the querent, it will be in your favor. Okay? And what is coming in is the 9 of Pentacles. This is about financial independence. So, the 6 of Pentacles can relate to inheritance, but also to alimony. So again, marriage or will situations, and then you have that financial independence, which is what I feel like this reading is all about. It's leading up to. And the outcome is the Queen of Wands. So in terms of like, you know, a child custody or child support issue, this would indicate that you are feeling very powerful. The wands relate to the masculine principle, and obviously Queen relates to the mother or the feminine principle. So you may feel like a self-empowered mother that can take care of your child and not have to beg for the money or anything like that. It can also indicate just a general feeling of self-empowerment, because who knows, maybe you're going to start your own business or something like that. Maybe you have the funds now to support your own thing and not have to be on that hamster wheel all the time where you're just making ends meet. So something may be coming about that, you know, financially, that helps you to be able to support yourself, or at least to have the money to live on your own. Okay. I hope that some of that made sense to some of you. So I wish you all the best in May, Scorpio. Take care. Bye.